Thank you for pleasure. Thank you for peace. Thank you for love. Thank you for ease. Thank you for pleasure. Thank you for peace. Thank you for love. Thank you for ease. Thank you for pleasure.
The focus of our work is the skillful application of pleasure as medicine for the purpose of personal healing, transformation, and spiritual growth. This is why we do what we do. We specifically utilize 4 forms of pleasure and 4 pillars of healing as the foundation for all of our work.
In our organization, we are built on the foundation of these wonderful 4 pillars of healing, which work together to create a beautiful whole system. So we have meditation, we have movement, we have connection, and we have pleasure. Meditation allows us to settle into our bodies and ourselves and connect deeply to our sense of not only ourselves, but our spirituality as well. Movement allows us to connect again into our bodies and into the way that our bodies move, feel joy and release tension and pain and anguish, and also allow us to connect through movement to other people and through play. Connection allows us to get back to the heart of who we are. Connection brings us back to our humanity and allows us to see and honor the humanity in others. And pleasure, as Davy so beautifully talked about, allows us to connect in to our sense of joy, bliss, equanimity. As she talked about, it makes our brains feel good. It has all kinds of great neurotransmitters, and it literally is medicine. And in some cultures, specifically Tibetan Buddhist practice, where we also practice in, it is a glimpse of enlightenment. Next slide, Chris. Apologize, I was a little tongue-tied there. So the 4 forms of pleasure. So we recognize these beautiful 4 forms of pleasure that are sort of the roots of all of the different kinds of pleasure that we can experience in this world. So there's many, many branches, many, many different forms that come off of these roots that you can experience and enjoy and bask in. So we've got physical pleasures. These are the pleasures of the body and of our senses. We've got our emotional pleasures, the pleasure of connection with others, connection with the self, connection with nature. We have spiritual pleasure, the pleasure that comes from connecting into our sense of the divine and the interconnectedness of all beings. And then, of course, we have our sexual pleasure. Next slide.
One moment. There we go.
And I think I'm passing it back to you, Chris.
Yeah. Our mission is fairly clear, I would say. The Institute of Holistic Sexology is an anti-racist organization committed to the liberation of human consciousness as it relates to our bodies, our sexuality, and our relationship to each other and the environment. We're dedicated to providing training and resources that help humanity reconnect with their sexuality as a vibrant, precious, and vital resource for healing, personal growth, and spiritual evolution. We fulfill this mission specifically by providing government-accredited certification in holistic sexology. This is not another let's make dolphin sounds and save the world. This is informed by both Western and Eastern scholarship. It's informed by Western and Eastern philosophical traditions. This is the real deal. Right. I'll bring all these up. Elena, would you like to take this one?
Sure. Okay, the Institute of Holistic Sexology Certification. Okay, let's talk about this program. It synthesizes decades of combined practice, education, and expertise in holistic wellness and lineage-based tantra. Davy's been certifying people since 2013, and together as a team, we've been certifying people in tantra and holistic sexology since 2016, 2017. It draws from both Eastern and Western philosophies and science, emphasizing a comprehensive, trauma-informed, and whole person approach to sexual wellness. It offers training recognized by the most prestigious professional organizations in the field of sexology, and is the only government-accredited educational institution in the world offering training in holistic sexual wellness and Tibetan five-element tantra. Next slide.
All right.
What is holistic sexology? Okay, so holistic sexology uh, approaches human sexual wellness, activity, and function through what we call a whole person lens. And the concept of a whole person lens means that our understanding and approach to sexuality encompasses how the physical body, the nervous system, how they function together to promote wellness. This includes understanding how our bodies and nervous systems are impacted by our thoughts, our emotions, our relationships, our culture, and society at large, with an emphasis on the interplay between the autonomic nervous system and sexual function. So we're we're taking all of these different aspects of the person into consideration when we are working with our sexuality, because our sexuality does not live in a vacuum. It is interconnected to all of the different parts of ourselves. Um, yeah, next slide.
Okay.
I wanted to say something here about what is, in reference to what is holistic sexology and how that differs from Tantra. So, Tantra is included in holistic sexology, but what we love about the framework of holistic sexology is that it includes not just the spiritual, the physical, the sexual, but also the societal, the cultural, and the relational. And often in Tantra, we have found that there's an imperative to bypass or ignore the realities that many of exist within. Many of us exist and are affected by systems of oppression. And in Tantra and in many spiritual traditions, they view our physical reality as unimportant or as an illusion. And I don't agree with that. And so holistic sexology allows us to broaden our lens and still include the teachings of Tantra that resonate with us, but we are not limited by the limitations of the view of Tantra, which again encourages us to disregard our physical experiences and get our reward in heaven, so to speak.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a visual learner, and so I'm going to put up this little thing very quickly. Typically, the circle is taken as like the perfect shape, right? It's all encompassing. Like that's the basic idea. And to lay out our understanding of who we are as people using this is a convenient way to do it. And we've got a variety of different aspects that go into making up who we are. So we are not just this body. We're not just this soul. We are a combination, a really dense network of all of these things, all of which interact with each other, all of which are intertwined with each other, all of which intersect with each other. If you'd like to know more about this, the work of Kimberly Crenshaw on intersectionality is excellent on this front. Really, really good. Really, really good. But these are insights that, again, Eastern philosophical traditions have had for millennia. The West tends to compartmentalize the physical and the spiritual. They're opposite each other. That's why I put them on where I put them on the circle. But really they're connected. They're not opposite. They're part of the same thing. They're part of the same thing. They're true with all of this. So if we begin to understand the self in this sort of densely networked, densely interconnected kind of a way, and this is shifting and moving. You are the same person as you were when you were 5, but you're completely not the same person as you were when you were 5. Everything's moving and changing all the time. So this point of self-connection, which is kind of an anchor point, I've highlighted it down at the bottom there, that connects us to all of us, all of ourselves, right? We don't leave any parts out. We don't leave any parts out. We connect to all of it. And when we do that, we can connect to wider and wider and wider circles of relations around us. And so if we can find that sense of calm in a time of where everybody's losing their minds, and if we can find that sense of calm, if we can find that sense of, I don't need to react, I can choose how to respond, If we can find that, then that's going to affect our intimate relationships, obviously. If our intimate relationships are good, if they're solid, that's going to affect our family. And it doesn't have to go in these direct steps. I'm just putting and naming them by one. Solid families make solid communities. Solid communities make solid societies. Solid societies make solid civilizations. And ours has a lot of work to do. All right. Elena.
Thank you for that, Chris. Yeah, and I love that diagram. I love it how it can, be expanded from the self out to the community and also from the community back to the self as well.
Yes. There's
Yeah.
feedback loops in all directions from
Yeah.
every level.
Okay, so the Holistic Sexology Certification Program. So this is a comprehensive and embodied approach to our understanding of human sexuality. It's designed for anyone who is already or wants to become a professional in the field of human sexuality. So people who are looking to break into it, people who are already in the field and want to deepen it, and also we see a lot of folks who are in other fields who want to broaden into the human sexuality scope. So doctors, nurses, therapists, clergymen are some of the people who have come to us and really benefited from being able to broaden into an understanding of human sexuality. This program is designed to fulfill ASEC core knowledge requirements, and it consists of over 100 classroom hours and a total of 306 training hours. So in addition to our government-accredited certification, this will start to set you up on the process of getting the ASEC certification as well. Please. Thank you. So what makes this program unique? So we are a government-accredited institution, and this is a government-approved program, which is under review right now. It's designed to fulfill the ASEC core knowledge requirements and also does include a nice hefty amount of the skills requirements as well. When you get our certification, you will also be eligible right away to get the American Board of Sexology Certified Sexologist credential. And in addition to all that, we approach holistic sexology from an embodied lens. Our our approach to learning through our certification programs has always been to teach what you know. And so our program will have many intellectual aspects to it, but it'll have much more that is designed to bring you through the process, to have you learn the concepts for yourself and in your own body and in your own relationships, so that you can really feel them and understand them from that embodied place before you go out and teach them, which will really give you this beautiful grounding and understanding the materials when you're going to be working with clients in the future.
And I just want to pause there and interject that this is also part of our anti-racist approach, right? So again, for millennia, human beings have learned through doing. They have shared wisdom and resources through the body. And so the over-intellectualization is not only a signpost of colonization, but it's also a signpost of trauma. It is a specific form of trauma, which we do discuss in this certification program, that causes us to separate body from mind and live in our heads. And that is a hallmark of Western civilization. And it's also indicative of a specific type of connection-based trauma.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful, Davy. Thank you for presencing that. And then the last point was just that we draw from both Eastern and Western sciences in everything that we do. Additionally, we have our own code of ethics. Both our Tantra certification graduates and anyone who certifies with us in the future are bound by this code of ethics, or that sounds serious, are guided by this code of ethics. Seasoned, oh yeah, the faculty and well, all of the faculty who are going to be working one-on-one with students are very, very seasoned instructors with many years of professional experience working in this field, and also providing empathetic support one-on-one to our certification students. The program is designed on over 50 years of combined expertise in the field of holistic sexual wellness and university level instruction. So this is the combined experience of Davey, who is the founder of the Authentic Tantra Certification program, and which is what we are evolving this program from. That's Chris, our senior educational administrator, who has many, many years in higher education, myself, and then all of our incredible, incredible faculty. We come together to bring all of this expertise to you in this program. Additionally, we offer anchoring sessions. So, one thing that is painfully missing from many human sexuality courses that I see all over the internet is that they're typically provided asynchronously, meaning you watch videos on your own and kind of go through the material, and they don't often provide a lot of support. One-on-one mentorship has always been the cornerstone of our certifications. I don't think we will ever do a certification where we don't include this as a part of it because it is so important to have that touchstone one-on-one with an instructor who's able to provide you empathy, clarity, accountability, and really just hold you through the process, especially considering that you will be embodying many of the concepts that you're learning. You'll have that mentor there to support you through that embodiment.
And that face-to-face interaction is super important. I mean, it's kind of an overlooked aspect of the Western tradition. It's kicked it aside. Like somebody at one point asked Socrates, why don't you write any books? And he said, how could a book answer a question? Which I really like. And so kind of bringing that sense of, again, the face-to-face interaction back. It's really, really important, particularly at a time now where we're being separated from each other more and more and more by our online technologies, by our social media bubbles, and by the algorithms that do more to separate us into tiny little pockets than anything else.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
And there's a question from Trudy. Do we get to have live group classes? Yes. That's actually one of the exceptional things about this cohort is that all of the classes are going to be live group classes. In the future, we may have some that are recorded, but having at least one live group class per month, like, forever is, again, it's a cornerstone. That interpersonal human connection is critical to the learning process. So yes, this cohort especially is going to have live group classes for all of the core knowledge that you will be learning.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Trudy. Additionally, in addition to providing course materials and teaching on anti-racism and readings on anti-racism, we also provide affinity groups, which Dave talked about earlier. So throughout your training, you are able to and access the affinity group where you feel most comfortable in order to gain support and further your anti-racist learning and your dismantling of internalized racial oppression. And then last but not least, we also have a student liaison, our wonderful Lucia, who is available for support so that you have, a specific point person that you can go to beyond your primary teachers and faculty. Will there ever be in real life classes? Not for this course specifically.
Mm-hmm. What we're going to do now is we're going to run through an overview of the curriculum outline. I'm going to read off parts of these slides, but there's a lot of information on these. You're welcome to take a look at it. This information is also available on our website. But this kind of gives you the key components of the course. What kind of stuff are we going to be looking at? And we begin with the foundations, where you get an embodied understanding of the foundations of holistic sexology. And the key word here is embodied. These foundations will build the ethical and functional framework from which the students, that's you, will be practicing in the field. Dogs barking. A sample of our classes is there.
So this is where we'll be diving into what holistic sexology is, talking about ethics in the field of human sexuality, and really diving into our anti-racism training.
The next part has to do with healing the body, mind, spirit, and sex. These are not separate. They all happen at once. We're going to be introducing concepts of holistic wellness methods sourced from Vajrayana Tantra and various yogic traditions, integrated with an understanding of the autonomic nervous system and how it functions, and polyvagal theory. Students will be introduced to practices for supporting the body and the ANS for optimal functioning during pleasure, play, and life.
Yeah.
Uh,
And this is where we'll be learning about meditation, tantra, going deep into ocean breathing, as well as learning more about the nervous system.
Then go into exploring the body at another level, functions, myths, and identities about how it's working. Looking at social and cultural nuances of how we understand and relate to human sexual anatomy by drilling deeply into the complex science of sexual function and our blueprint for pleasure. As Davey mentioned before, we are wired for pleasure, wired for it, hardwired for it, and yet we're trained otherwise. So looking at that intersection. Some of the things we're going to be looking at here, the way that we speak and how that relates to how we relate to our body, literally the words that we use. An anchoring session regarding all of this, so it comes into play. Looking, of course, human genital anatomy, got to know that stuff. Looking at genital homologs and sexual development, how that plays out. There's a module on intersex justice. There's questions of gender and sexual orientation and how those come into play when you're dealing with your own clients. And then again, this one is very, very important, highly detailed information, which is why there's multiple anchoring sessions. Those are the one-on-one sessions. That's why there's multiple of those here to make sure that this stuff really grounds in. Consent, trauma, and somatic healing. Again, we're looking at the ways in which unprocessed trauma impacts sexual function and the quality of life, while exploring holistic methods for transforming and transcending trauma, as evidenced by the science of neuroplasticity. This is where the Eastern and Western approaches really come together nicely. Tantra speaks about transformation, and neuroplasticity speaks about literally the hard mechanics of how that can work. Elena, did you want to run through the classes?
Yeah, and this is where we'll be exploring uh, sexual and relational trauma and abuse. We'll be going deep into somatic sexual healing here, as well as somatic attachment theory specifically through an anti-racist lens. We'll be talking about consent, and we'll dive deep into nonviolent communication as well.
Go ahead, Elena.
Samir is asking, how many people do you certify and how many practitioners are there? Um,
So our Tantra certification, over the 10 years that we offered that program under the umbrella of the Institute, I believe we certified probably around 150 people. And with that style of Tantra, we intentionally kept the classes small because they were so rigorous and so deep and so cathartic.
Yes.
And so we simply, our Lama guided us to keep things small. If we had done things the way our Lama wanted to, we wouldn't ever train more than 5 people at a time and only in person. So we had to adapt in order to survive. So our Tantra certification, 150 people certified in the sexual application of Vajrayana Tantra is a big deal. That's a big deal. With the holistic sexology certification, the way the program is designed is that we have the capacity to enroll, I believe, up to 50 students at a time and 100 per year, potentially. So again, the goal with our school is to maintain that person-to-person connection and that face-to-face support. So we're cautious about letting classes become too large, but we do want this to be a robust program at the same time.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for that, Davey. And I just wanted to quickly add as well that we're looking at running our admissions twice a year in cohorts, and doing that really so that you can also connect in with your cohort and deepen and study with them too. So you're not kind of doing this solo on your own.
Yeah, because that is one of the things that we found with the Tantra certification. Like, oh my God, the bonding that occurred for each cohort. I mean, 10 years later, they're still in communication and connection, many of them. So that is it's a profoundly bonding and healing experience to go through this process. And having not just our support, but peer support is critical to that. So that is something that we encourage with this program, is that each of the cohorts, we're going to support you in creating chat groups. And then often, we do have some of graduates from the Tantra certification. Julie and Carletta are graduates from our Tantra certification. So they can probably at the end speak more fluently to the bonding and the connection that occurs through going through this program.
Absolutely. In the section on pleasure consciousness, we're looking at the whole concept of pleasure consciousness. Again, we live in a pain-based society. You've all seen the pain scale. Well, where's your pleasure scale? We'll start introducing things like that. We provide instruction in the art of using pleasure as medicine.
Yeah. And in this segment, we're going to really get into pleasure, both sexual and non-sexual. So expand our consciousness, our awareness around pleasure, talk about the different kinds of orgasms our bodies can have and the anatomy of our pleasure. We're going to learn a bunch of self-pleasure practices, as well as a whole lot of strategies for kind of being present in our body and releasing stored somatic pain from the body and from our genitals as well. And we'll also learn about our beautiful pelvic floor and its role in sexual health.
Mm.
Francesco, I'm going to answer your question quickly. What I honestly, what I would recommend is, and you can even do this congruently with the program, is connecting with the Shankbakagu lineage. That is the source from which that's where our teachings are sourced from, specifically the Tibetan 5-element teachings. And so connecting with the Shankbakagu lineage, connecting with Kalu Rinpoche. Chris, can you type that into the chat, the spelling? And they have retreats and events around the world that you can attend in person. So that would be my recommendation. If you are hungry for Tantra, start there. And then when you've integrated that, then the sexual application is something that we can provide. But I highly recommend connecting with the lineage directly first.
I'll be sure to type that in while I have the slide presentations going. I can't get access to the chat, but
I got it.
Then I'm good.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Okay. So sex, pleasure, intimacy, and relationship. So this is where we start looking. Other sections can be applied just to the self if you want them to. This one is more looking at relationships, how that self connection starts reaching outwards. So we're looking at instructing students in intimacy building practices and pleasure enhancement skills for couples, incorporating proprietary methods developed and used by the IHS founders for, well, close to 2 decades now, to support clients in building and deepening sexual intimacy and connection.
Yes, yes. So we'll be learning again a whole bunch of methods and concepts. There's a lot from Davey and Chris directly in this course, and there are many, many years of running couples courses. So we'll be doing intimacy and relationship skills. We'll be talking about cultivating intimacy sustainably. We will talk about all different kinds of skills in terms of connection and in terms of how you're relating to one another. And then we will also be going into subjects like fertility, contraception, and talking about sex toys as well.
As you can tell, there's a fair bit of curriculum in this. We take a bit of a deeper dive into the challenges that are related to this specific area, the practical application of holistic methods to address dysfunction and obstacles to well-being. Students will examine the impact of technology on sexual function and the cultural history of sexuality research in North America. So it's a bit of a history of the discipline, and it's kind of a closer look at what is that right now, and how are the new technologies that are emerging, how are they affecting our abilities to relate to each other, sexually and non-sexually, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we'll, in this course, in terms of the classes, after learning all of those wonderful pleasure-based methods and nervous system regulation methods and connection methods, we'll learn about some of the sexual dysfunctions and sexual challenges that people face in the world, which is you know, one of the biggest sources of pain and suffering and one of the biggest sources of clients for many of us. And then we'll be talking about those dysfunctions and the remedies for them based off of the skills you learned. We're also going to talk about sexuality research, talking about both ancient traditions and modern research, what we would think of as modern human sexuality, kind of bridging the gap between those. And we'll talk about cybersexuality and social media, how we relate to our sexuality over the internet and our phones.
And I'm going to interject right now and answer Erica and Samira's question. So Erica, no, that was it is not recommended that you do a tantra course before you do this course. That was in response to Francesco's question about are there any in-person programs you might recommend that would go into the level of depth to which the original tantra certification program delved. And so we recommended for him specifically, or for anybody who's interested in learning more about the Shankpa-Kagyu lineage, that you learn, if you want tantra, start with the Shankpa-Kagyu lineage, and then the sexual application is something that we currently provide in our tantra healing programs. We're just no longer offering certification and the sexual application of Tibetan 5-element tantra. But for the holistic sexology course, which dips into that, the beauty of this program is that there are no prerequisites. Previously, the program was 2 years. And this program is a 13.5-month program, which we will be getting into shortly, and there is no prerequisite required. That is, we established the program specifically so that the program itself will provide all of the education necessary to graduate successfully. And then Samira, your question, who teaches the classes? It's going to be a collective. So Amini will be teaching some classes. Karen will be teaching specifically somatic attachment through an anti-racist lens. I will be teaching some portions. Chris and I will be teaching portions together. Elena will be teaching. So it is our faculty who will be teaching each portion individually and collectively.
Yeah.
Yay.
And
Yes,
and
yes.
we,
Sorry, go on. Elena?
oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I was just shouting out Trudy. Yes, it's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. And we
Embodiment is
also
jam. Go on,
sorry.
Elena. Sorry.
And we also have, I just wanted to mention that we also have a few guest lecturers who are going to be popping in for some of the courses as well. And I just wanted to very quickly build on what you said, Davy, and just ground that when we say we're not teaching as much tantra, we're talking about tantra in the way we define it, which is pretty esoteric. So we define it as weaving light with sound and form, specifically working with the 5 elements. Many of the practices, the sacred sexuality practices, and the spiritual connection that people link with Tantra, many of those are going to still be in this course, right? So a lot of what you think of as Tantra is here. We just have a different lens for what Tantra is, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
Yes.
refer to, I mean, again, as Elena was saying, Tantra is something very specific because of our training, because we trained under the umbrella of a lama. Like our lama was living with us in our house. So our understanding, not the whole time, he lived here recently, but the intimacy of that relationship and the way that we understand Tantra is not the way Western folks understand Tantra. It's very different. And so in this course, we incorporate methods that I personally refer to as yogic, breath work, moving the energy, mindfulness, those sorts of things, which in the world of Western Neo-Tantra, that's their Tantra. For me, that's yoga, and Tantra is its own specific thing.
Continuing with the curriculum outline, learning theory and application. Again, what we're looking at here is the practical application of all of this information. It's the methods in theory. If you're going to be teaching clients, if you're going to be working with clients, what are the methods in theory that you're going to be using? How do you take this information that you've learned and transfer it to a student effectively? You'll be introduced to different pedagogical frameworks, different styles of teaching, different approaches to teaching and learning. And it helps students identify and understand the complex dynamics that are involved when you're working with individuals, when you're working with couples, and when you're working with groups. Doing group workshops is a very different thing than working with an individual. Working with an individual is a very different thing than working with a couple. So there's a lot of really important information that's required to be able to handle those moments. Like if you're dealing with a client and something goes sideways and you're like, whoa, what do I do now? That kind of information is going to be really important to have. I think a well-trained professional will need that. That's why this is here. So we have specific classes on applying the tools and preparing for sessions, writing lesson plans, for example. The intake process, when you're dealing, what that looks like for individuals, for couples, and for groups. And then again, a solid anchoring session on this part, where all of your questions are addressed. And then to wrap it up, we're going to be having assessments and final exams. Yay. Every class that you take is going to be graded with a multiple choice quiz. Everyone. At the end of each lecture. So basically every week you'll be doing a quiz. It keeps it contained. It keeps it so there's not overwhelming. They're not overburdensome, but they're keeping you on top of the material. The holistic sexology methods in which you're being trained will be assessed using an oral exam format, which comes at the end of the program. Oral exams will be scheduled with the student's primary instructor, so it's not going to be standing in front of some stranger. It's going to be the person that you've worked with through the whole time. And that'll happen at the end of the course. We'll give you a little bit more details about the timing of that in just a moment.
Yeah, and if I can speak a little more to that, Chris.
Absolutely.
So please don't be scared by the oral exams. I know our like certification students are always a little scared of their oral exams. But the purpose of it is really that you're going to be learning methods, and a lot more methods than you typically would learn in many other certification programs. And those methods have to really be taught orally for us to affirm that you know how to embody them. So that's all. It's not like a super long experience. It's just going through the methods and being able to communicate them to your primary instructor.
And the methods that you will be tested on will be methods that you've been practicing for the past year plus. So they're not
Yes.
new methods, they're methods that will have been embodied and integrated.
Oh, and there's one quick question above. Is it okay to not have a partner?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. And in fact, most of the work is done via connection to the self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Davey?
So the course details, the duration of the course, as we said, is 13 and a half months or 13.5 months plus final exams. So what that looks like is the curriculum is delivered. And let's see, we've got the date here. The program begins February 25th. So we're in early registration right now, so we can get all the ducks in a row. And then the first date of class is February 25th, 2026. And the curriculum is delivered through April 2027. So that's 13.5 months. After that, you will have an additional 2 months to prepare for final exams. Now, if you need more time than that, there is a grace period that allows you to extend your final exam period all the way to December 31st, 2027, because life happens, right? So you may be all ready to take your final exams as soon as you're done, but then something happens and you need to delay. So we build in that grace period just in case. So the total curriculum duration is 48 weeks. And as we said, it's about 360 total hours of training, which will include your self-study. To break it down for you, you're looking at about 2 to 3 classroom hours per week. So this is every week. And then your homework hours are about 5 to 6 hours of homework per week. And your homework will include reading, videos, and actual practice, embodiment practice. All right, next slide, please. This is early registration. As you know, early registration is from now until December 31st of 2025. And then in January of 2026, there will be the regular registration window, which goes from January 1st to January 31st, 2026. Right now, because it's brand new out of the box, we are offering a $2,000 savings, as well as waiving any enrollment and administration fees, which brings your tuition from 11,250 US dollars to 8,500 US dollars during this window, November 1st to December 31st. Next slide, please. And we have payment options, and I was very happy about our payment plan option, which makes this accessible. So if you would like to pay in full, you are welcome to. We do request the $1,000 deposit to complete your registration after you've already gone through the application and the consult and the paperwork, a $1,000 deposit, and then the remaining by January 15th. And then for most folks who like to take advantage of payment plans, I'm a payment plan human myself, we again request a $1,000 deposit to confirm and hold your space, your place in the program, and then an 18-month payment or 18 payments of $420 a month, which we believe makes this accessible in this current climate. Payments for that would start January 1st, 2026 and go to June 2027. And as I said, we can extend that if required.
In terms of the application process, because we're government accredited, there's a few steps to it. So there'll be using the link on our website, submit your application. That's step number one. Schedule a consultation. So we like to meet with everybody beforehand to speak with them, to address any questions that might be outstanding, to sort out any little details that they didn't get the opportunity to ask or weren't addressed in the information they had received. From there, if you're accepted into the program, you'll receive your contracts and your link for your deposit. You'll sign those contracts. Those are government required and reviewed contracts. And then complete your deposit. From there, you are officially enrolled in the class. Once you are enrolled, you're given access to a Kajabi vault where a lot of the material will be. You'll have access to it right away, or at least components of it right away. Start reviewing the resources that are available to you. Get started on your required reading lists. Listen to the Sex is Medicine podcast. There's great information in that. And Debbie and Elaine I mean, they're so knowledgeable on this stuff. It's wonderful to listen to them because they speak from actual experience. They didn't just read a website and you're puking it back. Attend the December 9th course with Davey and do your practice. Payment plans begin January 1st and the program curriculum begins February 25th. One of the other things, I'm going to just stop my slideshow there, come back so we can see everybody. One of the other things I want to mention really quickly is we've tied this into ASECT to meet the demands for ASECT certified membership. And one of the things that's required from ASECT is a bachelor's degree for full membership. So because we're government accredited, one of the roles that I have is to begin approaching different universities to make transfer credits from this program available for standard bachelor's and master's degrees programs. Those kind of affiliations are things that I am actively working on. We're going to be seeing how that comes about. But I feel really good because having spent many years in post-secondary education, I feel really solid about this curriculum and what it has to offer. And I know that it's on par or better than what most universities are currently offering. We've had a number of professionals in the field come through saying, "Whoa, I did my doctor's training and this is way more detailed than anything I got in doctor's training." So this is solid material. And again, these articulation agreements that I am working on should be able to open the door for transfer credits if you would like to pursue a bachelor's degree or if you would like to pursue advanced degrees. So that's in the works. That's in the works.
Also, you mentioned going on to a BS course. Does this course technically qualify as an AS degree?
That is what Dr. Erickson is currently in the process of attempting to establish with partner universities. So because we are legitimately government accredited, like legitimately, which means that we are recognized by other colleges and universities and other government accredited agencies as being legitimate. So because this has never been done before, Dr. Erickson is in the process of establishing those partnerships with other accrediting bodies. So we will keep you posted on that, but that is our intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be effing outstanding. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would.
May it be
It
so.
would.
Peace. Thank you for love. Thank you for ease. Thank you for pleasure. Thank you for peace. Thank you for love. Thank you for ease.